Hello, Mr. Stevens here. Today's lesson is going to be about expanding brackets, another important tool we need to use in algebra. And the goal of what we're doing here is going to be to simplify the expression. What we're going to start out with, though, is a bit of an object lesson to hopefully help you see why we expand brackets the way we do. Let's look at this first rectangle. We know that to calculate the area of a rectangle, we times the length, this side, by the breadth. That's how we calculate the area of a rectangle. Okay, so we could calculate the area of the entire rectangle by multiplying this side 2 by 5 plus x. That's one way we could calculate the area of this rectangle. Okay, that's one of our expressions. But what we could also do is we could take 2 times 5 and calculate the area of this rectangle, and then we could take 2 times x and calculate the area of this rectangle independently, and then we can add the two areas together. So this is method 1, and in method 2 we've calculated the two areas independently, and then we've added them together. Oh, sorry. To give us the total area. Okay, so what I want you to see here in this example is that these two expressions, this first one, 2 5 plus x, is the same as this one. And we're going to come back to this in a moment when we move on to simply expanding brackets. Okay, let's do this second example. We're not going to do C, we'll just do part B, just to make sure we've got this. So in our first expression, we're going to do the whole thing in one go. That is 12 times a plus 3. Remember, when we're writing a times like this, we can leave out the times symbol and just put 12 bracket. That's our first expression for the area. And we can also calculate the two rectangles independently as 12 times a and 12 times 3. And then we can work out the total area by adding these two things together. And again, the important point to note is that this expression and this expression mean exactly the same thing. They are both expressions for the area of this rectangle, and they are both completely accurate ways to represent the area of this rectangle. Let's look at a way that we can work out this second expression if we're given this first one. Same thing here. We can work out what this second one will be if we're given this first one. We're trying to remove the brackets and write it in its expanded form. What we're going to use here is something called ski jumps. We're going to take the number out the front here, and we're going to times it by the first thing inside the brackets. Okay, 5 times x is 5x. And then we're going to go back to the number out the front of the brackets, and we're going to times it by the second thing. These red lines mean times. Plus 5 times 3 is 15. And that's how we expand brackets. I'm going to show you again on the second example. We take the number outside the brackets and we times it by the first thing inside the brackets, 8 times a. And then we take the number again and we times it by the second thing in the brackets. This time, let's do this in 2 steps, just so we make sure we deal with the negative properly. What is 8 times minus 4? 8 times 4 is 32. You have a minus here, so it's actually minus 32. Now, because the number that we got by multiplying 8 and minus 4 is negative, we actually put the negative here. So what I want you guys to have a go at now is these 2 examples by yourself, and if you pause the video, have a go. When you start the video again, I'll show you the answer. Okay guys, now you're going to go to page 365 of your textbook. You'll answer question 1, 3, and 5, the full question, and then for questions 6, 7, and 8, I just want you to do the first column and the last column. There are 4 columns of questions. You just choose the ones on the left and the ones on the right. Leave out the 2 columns in the middle. Thanks guys.